if I go this way, my hair covers my face, but if I go this way, all you're gonna hear is the wind. It's quite a battle. The real answer to that question is that I should probably just wear a hair tie, but I don't have any at my availability. Anyway, onto what's most important is shoulders, and I feel like shoulders are a pretty cruisy thing to train. Essentially, all you really need, in my case, the way I train in the gym, is I just use dumbbells. And I mean, there's machines as well, but I'll be using my favorite old, what do you call them? They're like elastics, which is simulating what you would with, your cables. And those two things is all you really need to get a good shoulder workout done. So I'm going to start off with, I call them flies. It's probably not the correct term for what I'm going to be doing. But basically, the first thing I like to train is my side delts. And just like everyone else that, is into bodybuilding, you'll see them doing this. And that's exactly this particular workout or exercise is what hits the side delt. So just needed to tighten up my old dumbbell here. So as you can see, I'm going to go to 10 for the first set. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. Now, I'm using, I think it's about 12 kilos on each side. I can go up to, say, the highest I've done it is 17 to 20 kilos. But I find like it's just a bit more riskier, like with my rotator cuffs. So just coming down a bit means I'm just in a bit of a safer range for injury and whatnot. And it feels pretty good. So yeah. In saying that though, what I do like to do with a slightly lighter weight, like say if I've got 20 kilos that I'm flying, I also like to do a superset where I, as opposed to just go for the straight sides lift, I like to rotate my hand. So when I do the lift, I come through this motion, and I generally find that does activate just a bit more of the side delt. And the cool thing is when you're doing shoulders there definitely is a right and wrong way of doing it because of the rotator cuff being so prone to injury. But the more you kind of change and articulate your hands as you raise your arms, the different aspects of the shoulder you're going to hit. So if I was to do this, you don't see a lot of people do that, but if you do that, you're actually also activating your front deltoid. So, play around with it, I guess, or I like to play around with it and see what I come up with. And now I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to do another set. But yeah, like for me, I feel like a good shoulder session involves side deltoid, front deltoid, back deltoid, So it's here, here, and here. Now, the back deltoid also gets a lot of activation on when you're doing back. So for instance, yesterday when I was doing my rows, you can definitely feel it. Depending on how you pronounce your elbows when you're doing rows, it'll sort of either hit your actual rhomboids and your lats, and I think as you go higher, you also start to get a bit of rear deltoid in there too. So, and that's what I do find with a lot of these different days of working out is, even though they're not like a focus of a particular day, they still get activation on another day. So if I'm doing, say, I don't know, chest, and I'm doing dips, a secondary activation will be my triceps. So even though the focus is when I'm benching my chest, my triceps will get a bit of work as well. Yeah, it's like there seems to be a fine balance there where if I over articulate, that's when I start getting the impingement happening. So I feel the joint getting weak. So if you can see it, the more I articulate it, the more side delt activation I'm getting, but the riskier it is on. So if I went lighter, it would be easier to go full stick, but where I'm at right now is just getting it around there, which seems to be that right balance between hitting the delt and not ripping my shoulder off. But yeah, I can feel my, it's almost like I think it's an impingement in that as I raise, as I go through this motion here, there's a little bit of instability in my joint. Yeah, it does seem when I do hit my shoulder in certain ways, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. It was quite painful, and I do love my sacred shoulder. If this thing were to fail, my gains would sadly fail. And something that to me I think is quite important is joint health, especially being 30. Like, I can't just go full cowboy with a workout now because the joints just aren't as youthful as they once were. And I mean, I still have this I suppose similar healing powers to someone younger. It's just they're more prone to injury. So for me, form is more important than actual weight or strength will ever be, because I always train to retain my joint health as opposed to risking it each time. Because yeah, I've hurt my shoulder before and it's horrible. It takes age. I couldn't even lift up a can. It's that bad. So yeah, people out there like training, look after your shoulders. Moving on, doing front deltoids. So front deltoids to me is this muscle just this one roughly around here, and it's generally activated with, and what the body or arm uses it for is this, so raising. And I guess the best way of achieving this is with any sort of pressing movements. And I really like dumbbells for shoulders. I don't know why, but to me it's just, you know, it's like they're made for each other. I'll be doing these bad boys, and because the weight's pretty light and the front deltoid I feel like is one of the stronger muscles in the shoulder, I'm going to be supersetting it, because normally I'd be doing this with like 25s. Yeah, so got roughly 10, I think it's 12 kilos in these, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to change it up just for a bit of fun and superset it with this pressing. Oh, feels good. It's a nice set. So, yeah, I find like you don't really need to go too heavy with shoulders, because, you know, shoulders are a pretty small muscle group, and they're like, for me, my experience with them is like letting them mature. So as the muscle grows, the rotator cuff and the joint needs to grow in strength with it, and once they sort of meet each other's levels of strength, that's when it's like, you know, getting your driver's license. That's when you can really start going for it. And even still, I don't really go that hard, even though like my shoulders are pretty well built now, just because of the risk with the rotator cuff. And I'm finding at 12 kilos, I'm hitting my front deltoid pretty well there. And you know, well, they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or fix it if it's broken. Oh, feels good, that pump. Yeah, because I'm using less weight, higher reps. I don't know, it's like a nicer burn as opposed to like going, oh, whoa, that was brutal. And at the moment, I'm trying to deload, and I guess to me what that means is I'm trying to make sure that all the heavy strength training I've done over the last few months, just to give my joints some time to heal and resettle. And part of why I'm doing this is, yeah, because sometimes less is more, I think, and yeah, that's where I'm going with that. Less is more. Deloading, higher reps, lower weight, makes my body happy. So once again, here I have my my elastic band thing with the handle on the end of it. It's its own attachment. I have that chained to a sling with a carabiner, and this particular exercise, once again going back to my side delt, I always like to I guess, cycle through things. I like to cycle through things. I like to cycle through things. You know, whenever I'm in the gym, I'll go and I'll do a particular series, and then I like to move on to another series of things. So yeah, I like to go through like different stations in the gym, if you like. So if I start with side delt, I'll come back to side delt because now it's rested, I can hit it a bit more. Sometimes I like to put my foot on it. It makes the actual resistance a lot harder, but it just gives me a little bit better of an angle. As you can see, like when I put it here, just my shoulder has to put so much more leverage into it. So it might even help if I lower it a bit too. Yeah, I'm gonna lower it. It's a bit too high. Now let's see. This should feel a bit better on the shoulder. Should get the side delt going a bit more. Nice. Ooh. Yeah, I find with these things, it's like they're less forgiving than cables. Like you really have to be at a certain angle to it for the resistance band to hit the muscle as opposed to the joint. When I just did that, then all I felt was the joint, not the muscle working. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. So the further I go out, it's like the more resistance I get through the band, and the shallower I go, the less resistance, but it's like it hits the muscle later on. So it's a fine line between going too far out where all you feel is joint, and too far in where, you know, like almost half your movement is lost. So for the right side, I'm finding around here, and also with this, around this amount of angle, leaning a bit further towards camera. That's beautiful. That's side delt all day. Pretty annoying there, sorry. My camera lost focus on me for the last take. But anyway, I'm on to, I think, about my third or fourth set. And I've now doing rear delts. And all I've done is I've moved my sling up. I've moved my sling up to just below shoulder height. And I'm doing this particular motion here. So grabbing the handle. Actually, that's right. I was this way, but that hits the back a bit more. So I'm going to go this way this time, and I'm just going to do it like this. For the first time people are seeing this, I'm using a sling into a carabiner to create this setup. I like to use rock climbing grade stuff simply because it's got a very high rating, but you know, you can find similar stuff in your hardware store. You just want to make sure that, you know, like carabiners you use for key rings and stuff. I mean, this carabiner here that comes with the actual rubber band itself probably isn't the strongest, but as your starting point, you know, coming from a rigging background, I wouldn't trust anything else that wasn't of a really high quality, because the last thing you want really is this band breaking, or your starting point, which is a more prone thing to break, that coming off and all of this hitting you in the face. Yeah, that'd be horrendous. So yeah, it's all pretty safe, and I'm actually starting to trust the equipment now. Like I'm actually starting to develop trust in this thing, this rubber band, which is cool. Because when I first started this thing, I was like, oh, Jesus, this thing's gonna kill me. And it's great, like I'm hitting failure, you know. Hey everyone, that just about sums up my shoulder workout here. Yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good one.